He is 100% worth it.
He takes it to another level. Oh my God, I just fell in love with it.
Thanks so much, Jay.
Blew my mind. And it worked. I wanted to buy my thing.
Jay is, I would say, the Yoda of sales calls, man.
Just talking to Jay, he was so good at just taking what it is, seeing the opportunity and the value and the real reason we are making it.
Talk to Jay because he got it. He can definitely help you out.
Talk to Jay. You're going to get a lot. You're going to gain a lot.
I would absolutely recommend him for any position that you have.
Jay's definitely the guy.
Give him the chance, give him the opportunity. You won't regret it.
He's good at what he does, so I highly recommend him, and I would book him before he is fully booked out.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sales Ninja Show podcast. My name is Jay, and my peers know me as a sales ninja from becoming a former introvert, a pastor preacher, a banker, a lot of things, reluctant evangelist. I pivoted to high-ticket sales, and I'm here to help you to sell more, to give more. I have a special guest today, and that's actually more than one. It's a power dynamic couple by the names of Micah and Diana, and they're the founders of Hitch Fit Online Personal Training, Hitch Fit Transformational Gym, and Soul Fit Retreats and Conferences where they lead through faith and fitness. I am super excited to have them as guests because I've never had more than one person on the show at one time. And these people are definitely people that you want to follow, listen, and watch because they've got the goods. And we're excited to share them with you. We're going to bring them to stage in about 10 seconds. Let's go. Okay, welcome Micah and Diana, power couple of Hitch Fit Fitness and Gym. How are you guys doing?
Man, we are so excited to be here, and man, what an intro. That was awesome.
Yes, thank you.
You know what? We always get people who are like, man, your production was excellent. And you know what? It's because of my team. It's because of the people that built this. I don't know anything. I'm just, making my way and being obedient to God and still learning every single day. So I'm looking forward to learning from some of the best, which is this power couple. So thank you for your time and thank you for being on the show today.
We're excited to be here, and we're excited to be the first couple.
Yes.
Sales
First.
Ninja. Let's go.
Amen, brother. So, okay, so clearly, people can tell if they're watching you, either your content or even real life. Like, this is not like an AI or a green screen where you've been modified and your muscles just grew on stage. You've done a lot of hard work. Now, I like to say I'm pretty fit because I work out, every single day. But when I look at your bodies, I'm like, wow. So first of all, because I'm sure everyone who's watching is asking the same thing. What does it take in terms of discipline, focus, and time? I'm sure we can do like a whole 7-part series on this. But in a nutshell, just as an intro, what does it take to get to where you guys are both at in terms of your physique?
So when it comes to physique, lifestyle, health, we always talk about it has to be a top priority in your life. It has to be a part of the decisions that you make every single day. So I'm a big pusher of like schedule and structure and the discipline that those go into the day every single day. I'm a 3 a.m. waker upper. That's when I get right with the Lord at 3 a.m. because there's no distractions, man. But it is a discipline, and I start, and I get on a Peloton after I get in my prayer and my devotions, and that's where I do a lot of my content, a lot of my reading, and then I start my day after that. And so it comes down to the choices that we're making every single day, not only with our food, with our workouts, our cardio, and stuff like that, but being very intentional with the choices that we're making in every choice that we make each day.
Yeah, I would just say it's discipline, but really even beyond that, it's just been the habit development that we've built really over the last couple of decades of our lives. So it's not even how we live our lives. It's not like you don't. It's so ingrained. It's so natural. It's so normal. And so for me personally, it's just been creating a normal that facilitates everything else that I want to do in life. So a lot of people think that the discipline is like, oh my goodness, discipline, and that's, so hard. But this level of discipline has given us so much freedom in all of these other areas of life, and to be able to do all these amazing things that we get to do. And we're both in our mid 40s now, and there's just the sky is the limit as far as what we can do. So totally worth it.
Oh my goodness, mid 40s. Come on, you guys look incredible. You guys are the new 20s. Wow, wow, wow. So, I mean, there's something about this 3 a.m. getting right with the Lord, discipline, habit development. What you say is so natural, so normal, is so unnatural and so abnormal for most of the people, as you know, which is why 700,000 pounds later, 20,000 professions. I had transformations in the fitness world. I'm an evangelist, so I went to professions of faith. 82 countries in 15 years. So that's a lot of pounds. And even like, I'm just gonna zone in on YouTube right now because to be able to say that that's natural and normal and habit stacking, talk about, let's go back into the childhood. Were you guys always like fit and cut and ripped, or did you guys have a eating pattern and a body shape that was more like, let's say a triangle, or more of a muffin top, or what was it like growing up as kids?
Well, growing up, I was definitely an athlete, but as far as getting to the level, within competition world and that type of thing, I was not actually making great choices in my life. I had very unhealthy eating habits. I was about like it's been a little over 18 years ago now that I had what I call my Independence Day, and had like an aha moment where I changed everything in my life. Because prior to that, I was about 50 pounds overweight. I was compulsive overeating at night. I was experiencing a lot of sadness and a lot of anxiety and depressive feelings, and I was feeding those with food, and it was very hidden behavior. And the scale was going up. That was causing a lot more stress. And I had these dreams and goals that I wanted to achieve within the fitness industry. And so finally, I had a day that I was so sick and tired of doing this, and I saw that the path I was going down was not leading me where I wanted to go. And so I had to change everything. So it started with changing my mindset, and then it was changing my habits, and then just continuing to build on those and having really big goals. So I ended up competing, and I won 2 world champion titles, and got to do thank you, got to do a lot of things. But that just opened doors for Hitch Fit and for meeting Micah and like all of these other amazing things in life. But when we work with people, we understand, like, first off, not everybody's going to want to get to the levels that we did, and we never expect that. Like, some people want to do competitions, but honestly, it's a small percentage. The majority of people just want to wake up healthy. They just want to feel good in their lives, and that's who we work with. But I can understand what it feels like to wake up and not recognize yourself in the mirror, and to wake up and not feel good, and to feel sick, and to feel lack of energy and low confidence. I understand to my core how all of those things feel, and that's why I'm so passionate about helping people through transformation, because I've been on that side and I've been on this side. And I am so grateful that I made that change, because I wouldn't give up being on this side for anything. It's been the most beautiful life.
Wow. So that was a lot right there, because I mean, good stuff, because the Independence Day, the aha moment. I can't even imagine 50 pounds overweight, unless you had a before and after. It's going to be hard to believe. I'm sure you have that.
Yeah.
Compulsive overeating, depression, that emotion. So I have a lot of family and friends, people that are near and dear to me. And I've asked some of my closest friends and family members who are overweight, obese, struggling with type 2 diabetes, having to inject themselves and take 5 to 10 or more pills per day for the rest of their lives. And I asked two of them in particular that are actually not friends, they're family members. And I actually have a friend who is kind of on the cusp of, you know, a lot of unhealth. And it really breaks my heart because they're near and dear to me. When I talk to them about like food and fitness, their response has been, hey, I want to die happy. So I don't really want to exercise. I don't want to watch the food that I eat, except the food that I like to eat. I'll watch that food. The seafood diet. You seafood, you eat the food. That's the terrible joke, but they don't see the aha, the Independence Day, because they feel either deflated or defeated, or you know what? I'm so far back in this, you know, a journey of trying to get fit or trying to get that breakthrough. I can't see a way out. And you were there. What would you say to those people that are, you know, listening, who are watching and struggling to, you know, overcome obesity, you know, anorexia, emotional eating? You went through a lot of that.
Yeah, it's, you know, we talk a lot about a sacrifice mindset, and a lot of times people think that making the healthy choice is going to be the sacrifice because then they're missing out on eating all of these the food or whatever, and living that life of a sedentary life. They think that it would be a sacrifice to make the change, but what I realized for myself, which each person is individually, you have to realize this for yourself, is that the real sacrifice is putting all of these things in your body. And when we talk about a faith perspective, this is our temples too, you know. And so for me, it's also about honoring my temple and treating it well and fueling it well and being a good steward of this gift that I've been given. And so if I'm just focused on what can I put in, what can I put in, what can I put in, and then my health declines and I don't feel well, that is a bigger sacrifice. So the sacrifice isn't that I don't eat, you know, all of these other things. It's that if I did fill myself with these things, then I'm talking about my lower mental health. I'm talking about my physical health declining. I'm talking about disease, which then I'm in bondage to. And from a faith perspective, I believe that the enemy uses those things as ways to keep us from being able to perform our purposes and God's plans for our lives most efficiently and effectively. If we are sick and we can't think well and our brains are foggy and we're relying on all of these medications, and our main focus is food and not him, then we can stay trapped and we don't actually get to live out as fully the purposes and plans that he has for our lives. So I just think it's like you have to make a personal choice, but if you say you're happy but then you're on all of these medications and you don't feel well, like dying in that disease isn't very fun, to be honest. I've seen people and die, you're killing yourself is what's happening. And so if that's what you want to say is happiness, then we each have that choice. But I choose freedom, you know, and I would encourage
Wow. Come on. You need your own show and your own stage and your own book.
I'll let Mike say something.
This is what we talk all day, every day. This is what we talk, though, because people have this perception that they're losing out on life. You're really losing out on life and losing out on freedom when you're living in the bondage of food and addiction to it. I mean, when we go biblical with it, how many times was food used as a temptation? It was used, you know, for Jesus when he was hungry and fasting. It was at the very beginning of time with Adam and Eve. I mean, food is one of those things, and a lot of people have a really bad relationship with food. They connect it to times of happiness, and they connect it to times of, you know, when they're alone in sorrow and isolation and depression. You know, it's the same sort of struggle as alcoholism or drug addiction or pornography or whatnot. And a lot of the times it's done in silence, yet it's killing a lot more people than all of those three things combined.
Is it really?
Oh, I mean, obesity related issues are 7 of the top 10 killers in America.
Wow.
And when you think about when you get right, it is one of those things that's controllable. It's that choice you're making every single day. And it's not easy to get out of any of it, addiction, but the first step is making the choice to say, I'm ready to make change.
Wow. So I'm in Toronto, Canada. You guys are in the States, in Kansas. When I went to like Nashville or LA or New York, I noticed right away that the portions in the fast food or the restaurants are like a lot bigger. And when I because we like to go to the American buffets, We see people just like in Las Vegas at the slot machines. We see a lot of these larger obese people at these buffets because the value is there, and now they can eat all they want. That, like you said, daily choice is controllable, and you know, I didn't actually think of food as an addiction until you guys just mentioned this now. And it makes sense because whether it's porn, alcohol, drugs, food is something, the relationship between money and money and people, and addictions. I never really kind of put the food as an addiction. So, what were some of the things that you were addicted to that you had to break free from, or maybe in your earlier days? I know when I was in university and college, I would have instant noodles, like 3 of them every single night, and I would have a liter of ice cream like for lunch, and it was disgusting, but I loved it. And I thought, I'm young, I could burn it off. I didn't burn off. I gained 10 pounds of weight, and I had a double chin, if not triple. And my roommates were like, "Dude, you're gonna kill yourself." And I would take the fat off the steak with my 4 or 5 roommates. They would take it off because they were gym rats, and they would cut it off. And I was like, I will take the collection as the priest to take the fat, and I'll eat it because that's the juiciest, best part. And they're like, "You're disgusting." And they introduced me to the gym, and I only went because I didn't want to get left behind. And maybe it's a good podcast series. And so I went to the gym. I played racquetball. I only wanted to be there because not to work out, not to get fit, but to build relationship and hang out with my friends. And I became a person who went to the gym, 5-6 days a week, lost my fat, got into great shape. And now it's a lifestyle. And a lot of friends and roommates that were doing that and got me into it are no longer living that life. And we've reversed. So my question is, what is your kryptonite in terms of food? Because, we have cheat days, we have foods that we cannot resist. And, even Alex Hermosi, he's like, don't skip dessert, or whatever his hashtag is. So he's figured out some, and maybe you guys can talk on this, way that you can eat what you want, and you don't necessarily need to count your macros or your calories, as long as you have this formula of, breaking this amount of digestible calories, then you should be able to be on the plus side, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So here's the first key. The first key is you need to get yourself to an extremely healthy place and stay there for a period of time. So you create what we call a set point, where your body is at this point of healthy and fit, so that you can bring in foods from time to time, not every day in large quantities or going back to the way that you were living, but from time to time having those French fries or that ice cream or whatnot. We always talk about it like we go through different seasons of the year. So right now we're in what we call hiking season, where we travel the globe, we hike mountains and do all of that. During that time, we're taking in different foods than we typically would during a time where we're like in more of a prep stage, as bodybuilder world would say, or getting ready for photo shoots or something like that, which we go through at least once or twice a year as well. During that time, we're extremely disciplined. There's no space for desserts and cheats and stuff like that. We stay tight. Yeah. That's not only a discipline because of the goal. We make that discipline like for the Lord. We're going, hey, Lord, we're going to stay extremely tight and disciplined through this time. That's glorifying Him as well. It's like different seasons and pockets that we do that. But the number one thing out of all of that is we control food. Food doesn't control us.
Wow. That was, I'm just digesting that, pardon the pun. That was powerful. Now, do you guys have your own podcast? I don't want to assume, but I would think that that's where you guys.
We don't even have one yet. We're going to soon because we keep talking about it. And
are you for real, guys? Come on.
We're just, as you'll find out, we're juggling like 92 different things, and it's just her and I.
Yeah.
But we're working on a new ministry, a new business, and a different type of healing. This next step that the Lord has kind of got us into, and He's been very, very straightforward about building a podcast that is surrounded around all that we're doing too. So that it's in the works.
Wow, I am shocked. I mean, I just would have imagined and assumed, because of your influence and 700,000 pounds and 20,000 plus transformations. Anyway, so that is the way that the impact and the message and the audience and even the growth of your reach is going to definitely expand and scale. So let's go to the idea of marriage and partners in business, because that is a very, very tricky topic, because I've seen and heard even men and women of faith who have dared to travel that, road, less traveled, and not be in business together because of the clash and would never work together. And then some of them did not even make it through their marriage. So talk about the marriage and partners in business, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and it's definitely not for everyone. I will say that. It's for us, we discovered very early on, if you're familiar with the love languages, the 5 love languages.
Yes. Yeah. Gary Chapman.
Yes, we are both time people. Time is, if you want to show me that you love me, then spend time with me. And he's the same way. And so we knew that very early on. So for us it works, and we are together. I mean, we just celebrated 13 years of marriage 2 weeks ago. And we've been together 16 years.
Wow.
And we've been together for like in the same space the majority of that time. And that's not to say that we don't take our private, he gets up at 3 a.m. I don't get up at 3 a.m. So he has a good couple of hours totally to himself that he can recharge, like he can charge himself up. And then I also have my time, that's my quiet time with the Lord, that is my uninterrupted time by myself. So it's not that we're just in the same room all the time, but we work best together, and it's how we prefer doing everything. And we've started multiple businesses together. We play off of each other's strengths. We've just over the years learned the things that are that this is going to be a Diana job because this is what I'm good at, and then there's things that are Micah's strengths. And so we kind of lean on each other and complement each other with what our strengths are. And then when there's things that neither of us are good at, that's when we find someone else that is good at that can help us. But I think it's been good communication, and for us, we've been very diligent and intentional about taking our time, doing date nights and spending time together. And we go for a lot of walks, and we're good at separating, knowing this is business, and then we need our time to connect and be together as a couple too. But so it's worked beautifully if you can communicate and make sure that you're taking time for the relationship. I think a lot of times couples that try to do this, it all becomes the business, and you forget that this is the person that you love, that is your partner, and that you are on the same team even when there's disagreements on the business. So I think that's something we've done very well, and that's why we've been successful at it.
When you guys are in disagreement and you guys are at a stalemate, how do you guys overcome conflict? And I know this is just not an accurate statement. Who wins, or how do you decide which way to go?
Well, I mean, I win.
Well, I mean, this is a part of having, I'm a very strong alpha male. She's a very strong alpha female. So we have to figure out how to communicate that out. Again, I think it really comes down to what we're specifically arguing about and where our strengths is with that particular argument.
Right.
At the end of the day, you always got to go to the Lord on it, especially if we're in disagreements, or also more importantly, not knowing which direction or what door to go into. Being really, really, faithful that and obedient with giving that to the Lord, because a lot of the times, we end up making decisions based off of how we're feeling, or if it looks like this bright, shiny object, when in reality, God is going, hey man, I have something bigger for you over here, more of a God gift than just, a regular gift. And that is where, but when we have conflict, we're both a little bit different with how we deal with conflict too. I'm like almost instant, like when there's something negative that happens or we're in a disagreement, like I can get over it like instantly. She needs to like simmer down for a little bit longer. And so, but we never, one of our non-negotiables, we never go to sleep angry at one another. Like it is resolved that day and we move on.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll add just one thing to that, because just last year we had one of the biggest conflicts and neither of us could figure out what to do, how to resolve this. And I was on one side, he was on the other side, and we were butting heads more than we ever have in our entire relationship for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And
Wow, that's a long time.
It was a really rough season for us because we were just like, we felt so stuck. But
yeah,
what was interesting was even when we were butting heads, we would be like, I'm so frustrated with this situation and I'm not mad at you. And I know we're like disagreeing about this, but we're still on the same team. I'm not mad at you. I'm not frustrated with you. I'm just frustrated with this situation and figuring out what it is. So even though we were butting heads on it, we were still very united and trying to figure out, how to resolve it. And then the Lord showed up and resolved it. So we were like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because, with the 5 love languages that you talked about, love is spelled Time. And, with my wife and myself, the typical stereotype is, men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti. And we have boxes, the men, like TV box, the empty box. Hey, honey, what do you think about when you're watching a romantic comedy? And I'm in the empty box. I'm like, nothing. And she's like, you got to be thinking about something. This is a very powerful moment. I'm like, I'm in the empty box. I literally, nothing is going in and out. It's just, and then with the woman, it's like typically like spaghetti. It's like everything is entangled. So my mom was the expert at getting every conversation to studying harder, right? If you want to eat that steak, you got to work harder and study harder so you can afford the steak, right? And everything was intertwined and everything made sense, even though when I heard the stuff, I was just like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So in my role with my wife, we're exact opposites. She's logical, analytical. I'm the emotional, temperamental, person that takes hissy fits. And so, the idea that you said that was really helpful to me, and I'm going to take this, is I'm not frustrated with the situation. It's not you. It's the actual circumstance or situation that we're facing that is really frustrating for me, that I'm having a hard time overcoming. And I love the idea that even though you're butting heads, that you can come to the Lord, never go to sleep angry. So that was really powerful. So, we talked about, Diana wins all the time. So that leads me to the.
I was actually right in that situation.
I can see her kind of backing off there. So we'll do some marriage coaching as well. So that was a perfect segue for Princess Diana and Captain Micah. So if you guys are able to bring on stage your doppelgangers. So if you can show to the screen.
We'll start with this guy. All right.
Yeah. So I think what people don't understand is this is not Captain America. This is not Wonder Woman. This is an actual model, 3D model of Diana and Micah. So if you take it close to the screen so we can see a better shot. Oh my goodness, that is so you guys. Okay, wait. Let me take a screenshot of that.
There's the tattoos.
Yeah.
Wait. You ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. And then let's get that bodybuilding one with Princess Diana
the bodybuilding.
well.
This is my flexible smile, and it even comes with a little weight. But there he is.
That is so cool. I love that. Okay, I love that. So tell us about some of the biggest challenges. I know you guys have gone through like 82 countries, 15 years. Hitch Fit Gym went from 3 consolidated to 1. I think I read one of your stories that you said, the wall of fame was like, all these transformations. And you said on the video, like, I know and can tell you every single story. What was one story that really just brought you like to a point of like, man, emotionally, it just like gave you that goosebumps or even tears and said, this is why we do what we do?
And I mean, it starts from the very beginning of when we went through our own transformation and the biggest whys of why we do what we do. But as far as a client goes, I mean, there's so many of them.
I know. Yeah.
I think the one that kind of connects to me most is actually someone that I care about deeply and still very, very close with and friends with. It's a guy named Rob. He was in his 50s. About a month before he came in and spoke with me, he was in Mexico and almost died of an obesity-related issue.
Wow.
He was 263 pounds at 6 foot tall, a stomach that was 60 inches round. He was a professional barbecuer. He was just that guy. He was that guy that everyone loved, but he was killing himself through food, just like I had mentioned before. We sat down and he kind of knew me a little bit, but he wasn't prepared for what I was about to say to him. And if you know me, I have a lot of compassion, a lot of heart, but I'm also very honest and very truthful, sometimes to the point where it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And it's because I want to help you, and you're getting in the way of yourself. And so that's what was happening. And I said, hey, you know, you're the fat, funny guy that is going to be dead in 5 years, and your wife didn't sign up for this. And man, I mean, he was mad. And you got to keep in mind, I was with a trainer 3 days a week for a year and gained 5 pounds. And I said, we're not messing around. I'm not here to go to happy hours with you after you get your workout done. I'm here to transform your life. Long story short, he ended up showing up after that again, and he lost 115 pounds, stepped on stage, got ripped abs from a 60-inch stomach. But more importantly, this man's life was changed internally. And now he's adopted 2 children, his grandchildren actually, in his 50s. Him and his wife are taking care of very young children and fathering and mothering 2 young children. You know, one really serious thing that he told me is no man in his family had lived over the age of 55 or 60 years old. And I said, well, brother, now we have to live to past 80 because you need to see them graduate, get married, and all of the things. And now he has the control back of being able to make the choices that are going to get him there, God willing.
Wow, I got goosebumps. Like you literally saved a person's life and broke the generational cycle, if you will, of, you know, them not being able to live beyond 50 years, you know, and it's affecting legacy and impact. So, you know, when you lose 115 pounds and you go from 263 to 148, like I'm like 155, I'm like 5'6", I'm not very tall, but that's very, very hard to do. Like maybe the first 20 could be water, the pounds, but like going to lose 115 pounds, and it always you know, staggers my mind as to where does all the obviously the fat melts away, but the skin, like I see people either doing liposuction or they do tox, or like, isn't there like that because of the stretch? There's like this extra skin. Like, how do you get abs? I don't understand that concept.
Well, there's for sure skin. Like when the skin, you know, the thing is, people are always asking, is there a cream? Is there this? Is there that you can get rid of loose skin? And there honestly isn't. Like if the skin has been stretched beyond capacity for that long of a period of time, there's gonna typically be some loose skin, and that was the case.
Yeah, but even him, with as big as his stomach was, he didn't have crazy excess skin.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy. And the thing is, like, if you can lose weight in a healthy way, like over an extended period of time, you're gonna have less excess skin than you would if you have like an extreme, like, you know, you take a pill or you go on some crazy diet where you lose a whole bunch of weight, including a ton of muscle, and you're going to have a lot more loose skin in those situations. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things that I think when someone has gone through a massive weight loss and they've sustained it for a period of time, if that skin bothers them, like if there's a lot of excess skin, then surgery is really the only way to get it taken off. But I always tell people just to wait until you've actually sustained for a long period of time, because you don't want to go chopping up your body and then you're not actually committed to the lifestyle, you regain weight, and then what do you just keep chopping up your body?
I mean, and the reality is there's consequences to the choices that you made for decades.
Yeah.
Like it is a part of you because of the choices you made. It is a reminder. You are a much healthier version, but you also put your body through a lot of turmoil and a lot of negativity because of those choices. But now you also are a reflection in the mirror of not only a more fit and healthy person, but again, there's that reminder there of going, you know, I was once that person and I'm not going to be there again. And it's not all about weight. People focus on that. It's not all about that. It's talking about health, being able to climb your stairs, being able to pick up your kids, being able to do normal things or really exceptional things. I want to go climb a mountain, and you can.
Yeah, that's powerful. And a lot of people that I know, they can't play with their kids. So I want to run with my kids. I want to be able, like a lot of my friends who are in their 40s and 50s have gained so much weight. Not only can they not play with kids, they don't play any sports for themselves because they're out of shape. They can't even, climb stairs. They're huffing and puffing. So I want to go back to the date night, and I want to kind of land this plane because I want to respect your time. You guys have been married for over 10 years. And let's be honest, you guys look incredible. So when you guys are, walking down the beach or doing a speaking engagement and you guys are not together speaking, there's a temptation of people looking at you because it's hard not to notice how beautiful your bodies and the work that you've done. How do you stay pure and ward off the temptation? Because even in the Christian leadership world, with like all these pastors and preachers and leaders who are falling and succumbing to sexual temptation and sin, and I'm going there because we don't talk about it a lot. What do you guys recommend to kind of help protect your marriage and help maintain that purity?
Thank you for bringing this up. I mean, I love this topic. I'll let her speak and then I'll speak, but thank you for sharing this. This is the type of stuff we like hitting on.
Yeah, and this is good.
Awesome.
I'll share and then you can share. Like, so for us, because when we met, we were in the fitness industry too. Like, we were competing, we were doing the magazines, we were doing all that stuff. So we were very, very deliberate and intentional out the gate. I mean, from day one of our relationship, of putting boundaries around our relationship, being very clear with people that these were the boundaries. And if anybody tried to cross those boundaries, was inappropriate to either of us in any way, they were eliminated. Like, they were, if it was social media, they were blocked, they were deleted, and anybody that we really didn't have issue with it because we were so clear of these are the boundaries of our relationship. We do not open the door for temptation to come into our relationship. We can take each other's phones, we can go on each other's anything. Like, we've always had open books, as far as there's nothing hidden, there's not secret messages, there's none of that. I could grab his phone right now and do whatever I need to do on it, and vice versa. I think that's very important. Some people are like, oh, I need my privacy, and I'm like, but he doesn't just take my phone and look at it for no reason. Like, it's there, but I don't take his phone because I trust him, you know what I'm saying? But we've just been very clear. We're very vocal about our relationship, we're very vocal about our faith. There's things that we won't do. Like, I won't go and do something alone with another man. And it's not even that, like, that could be, some people may think that's totally innocent, but for us, it's about not even opening any doors that could lead to temptation. And we have to be so powerful and protective of those boundaries. And not that we don't have friends of the opposite sex and that kind of thing, but like, we're just very, very cautious and deliberate about making sure those boundaries are intact, and it keeps us both safe. It makes I feel totally safe. I'm not worried about him, and vice versa. So having that safety and that trust is huge, and we both honor that.
Yeah, and for me,
I love it.
It goes a little bit deeper first. So when I met Diana, I was at a place in my life where I had turned my heart and eyes away from the Lord due to a lot of stuff that I had gone through when I was younger, and pain and trauma and whatnot. When I met her, I knew who she was and who she was from. And it hit me so instantly that, like, this was the greatest gift God could have given me outside of Christ. And so I'm going to glorify him by being the man I need to be for this family, the covering I need to be for her, and the man that I need to be in this world for others. And so if I'm going to go speak on marriage and love and all of that, then I'm going to make sure that I have boundaries set up. When we read through the Bible, how many men fell short when it came to this over and over and over again? And the reality of the situation is like, my wife is with me all the time. I don't have issues with lust with other women and pornography and whatnot. Thank you, Jesus. But I'm also not going to allow a door to be open to that. So my wife is with me everywhere we go. If we have events or conferences or whatnot, then it's there. I mean, there's times we go to grocery stores and the cashiers, the women will say something or whatnot, and we kind of, we joke about it and whatnot. And I always talk about muscles in a specific way. Like, muscles give you opportunity. When you walk into a room, you have opportunity to make impact in someone else's life because of the discipline and the choices that you make within that lifestyle. I think the exact same thing when it comes to marriage, in the way that I lift her up and vice versa, and glorifying him. So when I look at it that way, it's a discipline just like anything else. And I get, it's either the best decision you make in your entire life or the worst decision you make in your entire life.
Woo! That was so good, guys. I mean, wow. I am just soaking it all in because one of the things that you said, Micah, was Diana was the greatest gift God gave me outside of Christ. So I'm gonna take that and then I'm gonna see how that works on my wife tonight.
If she starts making out with you more, dude, just know where it came from.
So you could be the marriage coach here. So take this framework that I got from this biblical framework from God that I downloaded his heart and how he loves unconditionally and relentlessly and extravagantly and excessively. And every man will fortify their marriage. So I love how you said muscles give you an opportunity to, get that platform. The opposite is maybe true too, and I want you guys to speak on this because especially for women with Instagram, especially with health coaches. I was closing for one of the top fitness coaches on the planet, and Instagram is this like shiny object syndrome of like, and even TikTok of the dancing and the body, and it's hard not to look at these beautiful bodies and objectify women, and it's almost like it might be doing a disservice to men because in the Bible it says to dress modestly and all these things, and men are stimulated by visual triggers, if you will, and we appreciate women and women's body and the beauty that God has given. When you are in a situation, Diana, where men are objectifying you because you worked hard to create the body that most people would dream of, when you say setting boundaries, what is it that you say or do in a way that's maybe godly or without saying get lost and telling them to piss off, right?
I don't
Part of my
do that.
French.
I honestly don't believe in even giving them any of my energy. So usually it's literally just a block and delete. I don't engage in, like, if someone writes an inappropriate comment, I literally just don't engage. And if it's really inappropriate, then I block and delete them. But I'm not a big, like, I'm gonna run around and try to defend and you this and that. Like, I can't control. I can control my heart. I can control my actions. Like, for me to share my fitness and I am an athlete. I am a 2-time world champion. You can't really step on a fitness stage in a full dress and be a fitness champion. So for me, I've always been an athlete. I love being an inspiration for women, especially women over 40. I'll be 47 in
Wow.
2.5 weeks. And so for me,
Amazing.
I think it's extremely important to show women that they can achieve. They don't have to try to get to whatever levels I decide I want to personally get to, but I want to show them that it's not the end of the world after you hit 40. So I'll keep sharing stuff. I'm never going to be able to. I think it's up to the man to, if he has a problem with that, if he's a believer and he knows he has a problem with seeing women, then it's actually on him to make sure he's not following those accounts and following a temptation. Like, I don't think that's my responsibility. My responsibility is to know my heart and to walk in the journey and the path that God set for me, which is a fitness journey. He placed me in this industry for a purpose. But years ago, I kind of came to that because I used to get a lot of, I would get those things of like, oh, how can you say you're a Christian and you be in fitness? And I'm kind of like, you think that God doesn't put like believers into like he puts believers in lights into every single industry that there is.
Amen.
I always thought it was kind of strange, but then I also realized men can objectify me if I'm wearing my pajamas and sitting on my couch at night, and I'm not saying, like, there's stuff I think that is extreme and I'm like, what is the intention behind that? But I know I've never shared content thinking, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all the guys to look at me. Like, that's not my heart. My heart is like, man, I worked really hard for this. I am dedicated to this discipline, and We do most of our photo shoots together, so we love doing couple stuff together. So I think it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm, there's nothing that I'm putting out that the Lord is convicting me on. But each person, he's responsible for himself, as far as like, if there are things that are leading him into temptation, he's falling, then he needs to stop following and looking at those things.
Amazing. How about you, Micah?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of talk about her too, like if there was something that was uncomfortable to me that she was doing, which there hasn't been in 16 years, because I know her heart and I know her intentions behind it. I think it's always a deeper rooted thing. Like, we can talk specifically about, oh, well, she's not wearing enough clothing, and oh, that can lead to temptation. Well, so does the McDonald's commercial when you go and eat 5 pounds of Whoppers, and you're destroying your body. Like, we can't just say this is good and this is not, and this is what not. Like, the reality of the situation is like, I'm doing what the Lord is guiding me to do. And I'm using a platform that really, in all actuality, is not a normal platform to spread a message of the gospel and the Lord. And I feel very blessed with that opportunity, because a lot of people are not bold with their faith in this industry as well as they need to be. And they're also, we're at a kind of a time in the world where we need a lot more Jesus and a lot more talk in that. And I just get to the point where, my pastor said at one time, he said, "Are you more worried about the judgment of them or the judgment of him?" And that really changed the game for me. So when it comes to that, yeah, a lot of times, you kind of got to block them and move on. Or when I have responded, I got to understand that, like, Jesus loves that person too. We're not going to always agree. We're not going to be on the same page. I'm supposed to love that person, and I do, and I can pray for them, but they're not going to be in my inner circle. They're not going to be close to me or really, mess up my day in any way by going down their rabbit hole.
Wow. So I know we're coming to an end, because I want to respect your time, and I have so many more thoughts. Maybe we have to do another part two. I love this. I love this. You come up with all these one-liners. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna run with that. Are you worried about judgment of them or judgment of him? I know that was from your pastor, so we're gonna rip that. Faith and fitness and biohacking. So those are the last two questions that we're gonna ask with regards to your mission and vision in the next 10 years. Obviously, you have 20,000 plus transformations, over 700,000 pounds lost, and project yourself 10 plus years from now. And when you think about your mission and vision, because you have so much faith, and in this fitness industry, I have yet to see people in the fitness industry display and demonstrate faith as well as maybe you have. So that's incredible. I'm experiencing that firsthand. And maybe the first question before we do the mission and vision in the next 10 years of what you're trying to accomplish in the Lord is some practical, tactical, biohacking tips. Like, I don't understand how someone wakes up at 3 a.m. I know Diana doesn't wake up that early. What time do you need to sleep to wake up at 3 a.m.? What kind of foods do you recommend eating, not eating? What kind of biohacking, whether it's breath work? I know that you probably have an entire program, and that's where we're going to bring up the gift, I think, the free gift link. And you can talk about that as well.
Yeah, so to touch base on my schedule, I'm a big scheduler. I'm a big structure person. Essentially, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a rhythm of our body. If you know anything about the rhythm of your body, it's extremely powerful when you get into a mode of like making healthy choices and then living by that schedule and that routine, whether it be with success of a business, a relationship, your body, your health. Like, it's all those habits that structure that schedule. And so when I'm like working with a client, I'm looking at their schedules and going, hey man, like we're staying up too late. You're not waking up early enough. The minute you wake up, you're going right to your phone. You're doing all of these things that are distracting you from making this a priority in your life. And so we look at all of those things. My faith is extremely foundational and important to me, as it is to her. I respect the fact that that period of time for her in the morning needs to be quiet because she needs to be with the Lord and pray. The other thing is we pray solo, but we pray together too. We do prayer circles together. We do different things that are very important. And we're really working on trying to build intercessors as we build into this new ministry that we're getting into too, of having those prayer warriors for you. We believe in all of that. And so I start with the Lord and try to always go to bed in prayer as well when I close my eyes. And sometimes I fall asleep while I'm praying because I go to bed like within 12 seconds of closing my eyes.
Yeah, that's a good way to fall asleep.
I wake up about 3 o'clock, 3:30 every morning, and I go to bed roughly around 8:30 every night.
Whoa!
Regardless if I'm on vacation or not. We could be in Hawaii and I do the same flow. Like I have to have specifics wherever we travel to. Like there has to be a piece of cardio. There has to I'm very specific with all of that. I figure out where all my food is. I know that sounds crazy to people, but I'm addicted to feeling the way that I feel and operating at the level that I can operate at and being my best self every single day, not worried about the short-term satisfaction, putting something in my mouth, chewing and swallowing, and then feeling like garbage the next day.
And Diana, what time do you sleep and wake up? Because it sounds like Micah is getting about 7 hours.
Yeah,
this is not a judgment thing, because I'm definitely not a 3 a.m. I'm probably sometimes going to sleep at 3 a.m. to be honest.
Yeah, and I need sleep too. Like sleep, like I love sleeping. So
It's one of your spiritual gifts.
It is like I am like happy with 8 or 9 hours of sleep. I don't always get that, but I actually function my best. And I found as I've gotten older too, just like recovery time, like I really value sleep, and I know how important it is for me to be not just physically as healthy and strong as I can be, but mentally my best too. So I probably go to bed around like 10ish. So because he's out snoring within like 2 seconds. so it takes me a little longer than that. And I'll get up around usually between 5 to 6 is when my body will naturally wake up. But yeah, so I need more sleep. He literally functions all the time on around like 5 or 6 hours of sleep.
And I'm one of those.
Fine.
Yeah, I wake up at like 3 or 4 and 3:30 and I am so excited. Like I put my feet down and I'm like, I'm ready to go. Like my mind is so clear at that point. It's so I create content when I can hear the Lord the most. As the day goes on, I start getting more tired and more tired. And I get close to 7 or 8 o'clock and people are like, man, you're so quiet. I'm like, no, I'm out of words and I'm out of energy. Like,
because you've been up for the whole day.
Yeah.
So are there any supplements or any foods or also fitness hacks for people who are listening? They're not bodybuilders. Most of them are not. Some of them are probably listening and maybe watching Netflix and they tuned in. They're eating a bag of potato chips right now. They just had French fries and poutine, and they're hearing this message and they're being convicted by the Lord that says, I'm addicted to food and I need to break free from this stronghold or this sin. I don't know if you call it sin, and you can talk about that. And to have this addiction of letting your body be the temple of the Holy Spirit and being addicted to JC, which is Jesus Christ, to have that clarity, to remove the brain fog, to break the generational curses of not being able to live beyond 50. What other things of practice of routine in fitness and food and supplements do you recommend?
Well, I think that it's really is the basics. It's eating whole foods, and we believe in eating. God created we don't cut food groups out. So we eat carbohydrates, we eat good proteins, we eat healthy fats, but the majority of what we put into our bodies is in its whole food form, whether it's chicken or avocados or fruits and vegetables and fish and that kind of thing. So he really likes we have an amazing almond butter that he likes. So that's not whole food, but it's either whole food or just very minimally processed stuff. And good hydration. I mean, you have to fuel your body with good whole food, good hydration, and then you have to exercise regularly. So and strength training specifically, and I know a lot of women are like afraid of the weights, but the strength training specifically for not just what it does for your body, for healthy muscle, for strong bone density, but for also what it does for your mental health and how it helps with anxiety and depression. And like, it literally, when you contract those muscles, it is like, our body, as Michael likes to say, our body is a pharmacy. God has created a pharmacy within our bodies, and so regular exercise is one of the ways to engage all of those things so that we can stay healthy. And I know people want to bring in all of these other things, but it's like, until you have those basics down, all of that other stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what supplement you take if you're going and eating McDonald's and sitting on the couch.
That's
There's
true. That's
not
true.
a single supplement that's going to matter if you don't have those basic disciplines. And I'm not talking about perfection either. So it's not like, oh, I don't think, like, I mean, I love chips, and so it's not like, and I will have chips when I would like some, in moderation, and during the seasons that we're having, some seasons we have more treats and some seasons we have less. But it's a matter of excellence. So it's not perfection, it's excellence. And perfection is not of the, like, God doesn't ask us to be perfect. He asks us to be excellence. And I think trying to strive for perfection like sabotages a lot of people. And it's not even biblical to think, oh, I'm going to be perfect with this. But he does ask us to be excellent in our choices. And that doesn't mean that we don't get to enjoy things. But I know all the biohacking stuff, but until you're actually at a healthy place and a healthy body fat and a strong body, don't even worry about all of that other stuff, because it literally doesn't matter if those things aren't on track.
I think biohacking comes into play when you're at a good place already and trying to take it to greater exceptional. It's
That's
not
a very
like
good point.
sauna work and red light and cold plunges and all that, but look at what you're putting in your body. Look at what you're fueling. Look at what you're watching. Look at what you're listening to. Look at the people that are in your lives. Look at how you're responding to negatives. There's so many things that we can do to get ourselves to a really good place, and then it gets nerdy. Then you get into all the stuff that can like take you to exceptional. One thing that this is not a biohack, but I'm a firm believer in understanding how your body is operating and knowing the data of your body. I highly advise people over really the age of 35 or 40 to start getting blood work done and knowing comprehensive blood work, knowing if you're deficient in anything. If there is vitamins that you need to start taking, or, and it's just knowledge. If there's different foods you need to bring in, and garlic for blood pressure, different stuff that can help you get to your optimal level. We talk about optimal, and that is where, a really legit doctor understanding blood work and your labs and knowing that, because if you don't, you're really going into it blind. And going, oh, I think this, but why am I so lethargic? And, oh, maybe because I work so much or whatnot. Like, there may be actually something that can help you with DHEA or vitamin D or whatever that you may be deficient in.
Wow, that is an incredible revolutionary movement and mission to be able to literally save lives, physical lives, which is spiritual, emotional, mental lives, and generational impact and legacy. So I am a huge fan of you guys as a power couple and superhero figures. Maybe end with this thought, whether it's a favorite Bible verse, and close us off with, what is the mission of the Faith and Fitness? I know you guys are pivoting. If you're not able to say what you're able to launch in the future, that's fine. But what does the future look like?
Yeah, what's been beautiful is through Hitch Fit for the last 15 years, we've been able to transform so many people and help them with their physical fitness. And what we saw over the years was that we have to start digging deeper in with people, because a lot of, it's often not as simple as saying, hey, just eat this and eat that. There's a lot of stuff that people have gone through, a lot of trauma. We have a lot of people that are walking around with trauma, and that makes it very hard to make the changes to get to your healthiest self. So that's kind of why we started digging in deeper. And that was how Soul Fit Retreats came to be, is like creating spaces where now we actually get to go even deeper and help people, give them a safe space where they can talk about stuff they've gone through, whether it's addiction, whether it's loss and grief, and people abuse, all of these things, and then just try to help them work through those, work on changing mindsets. But our faith is so foundational to being able to work on the healing pieces that need to happen for someone to get to their healthiest place. And I'll let Micah share, but he's had a journey that he's gone through of healing, and faith and fitness were we call them our wrecking ball tools for anything that needs breakthrough in our lives. Our faith and fitness are our wrecking ball tools that God has given us, that we can break through to those next levels. The faith wrecking ball is bigger than the fitness one, but those are our two that we use in conjunction with everything that we do. So the next 10 years is helping people transform, but on even deeper and more impactful levels than we have ever done.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I always, my motto is my motto is flex and smile, but the other one is Jesus, dumbbells, and chicken breast. And I think it's really, I really think it's the solution to almost everything. And so I'm a firm believer in living this lifestyle that obviously glorifies him, but gives me opportunity to be vulnerable about the things that I went through and the pain and the past that I went through as a masculine man, and then sharing in a space that a lot of men struggle talking about anything that may refer to weakness or pain or whatnot. And then they're in these relationships not being able to be the man they need to be in a family for their kids and their wife or whatever that may be. And so our next chapter is being a part of healing in a very different way than what it was in Hitch Fit or even Soul Fit. But those wrecking balls, like she said, are very similar. It's just going to be kind of a slightly different approach, because we're going to go more to the root of the issue, not just the food and the working out and that sort of thing, really diving in deeper to why they're making the choices they are.
Wow, I love that. It's more than just it's more than skin deep. You're going through the surface root issues so that you go from root to fruit.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
Root to fruit.
There we go. There we go. So tell us about your gift, your free gift that you're doing some sort of gift or scholarship, and then we'll end off there.
Yeah, we have an amazing program. So we have our regular online programs that we've worked with people all over the world. We have a very exclusive program that we just recently launched called the Inner Circle. And this program is all intensive, all inclusive with us. So there's text messaging, Zoom. This is a year program. So it's not just getting you into your best shape possible and whatnot from an aesthetic standpoint. We're going over the course of a year with you and all the challenges and diving in to helping you become your best version inside out, whether it be, troubles that you're having in a marriage or business or your bodies and whatnot, and really bringing that all together so that when that year is done, you are at a place where you're stronger in every version, from executives and CEOs of businesses to stay-at-home moms that have really dedicated their whole lives to their children. Whatever their walk is, we open this program up for them.
Yeah, it's actually been really incredible, the people that are part of the Inner Circle. It's helping them navigate through all of these challenges of life, because sometimes you do a 12-week program or 16-week program, and then something comes up in life that throws you off and you end up back at the start. And we've already seen, just within the last 6 months or so, people going through these hard things, but because we're there and we're just integrated into everything they're doing, we're able to help them figure out how to navigate through those things and get back on track and then stay on track. So it's actually beautiful, and it's been one of the most fun things that we've actually created in Hitch Fit. We told people it's the next best thing to actually just moving in and living with us. So
I don't know how many people want to wake up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to move it at 3 a.m. But yeah.
Now, is the soul retreat, the Soul Fit retreat, is that included, or is that something completely separate?
Totally different business. Those are our retreats that we do.
Oh.
We have those are typically 5-day, 4-night retreats. We just had one in Mexico in June. We have our adventure trip is coming up in October, and that trip's actually already sold out, but we are very close to releasing our 2025 dates for the trips that we'll have next year, and those are beautiful. It's just a community of people. We combine faith and fitness into amazing places. And the adventure trips, we're hiking and we're doing all this amazing stuff. This one will be in Utah. And then the Mexico trips are we're not traveling around as much, but we're together and we're just really digging deeper, creating safe spaces. I like to say it's a place where love thrives and wounds are healed. That's what we're doing at Soul Fair.
Wow, that was incredible. I know I'm the podcast host here, but I'm taking notes like crazy. I'm a student, and that was a masterclass and a retreat, and getting in front of two incredible men and women of faith that love the Lord and love people. And with the amount of transformations that you have been able to achieve, that's nothing short of a miracle. So I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your busy schedules and taking part of your evening to be here on the Sales Ninja Show podcast. And I always like to give the better half, which is Princess Diana, any last words or encouragement to the people that are listening out there that are on this fitness and faith journey.
Well, yeah, thank you. First off, thank you, Jay, for the opportunity. And to anybody that is listening, if it's the time for you to take a step, make a change in your life, we would be happy to help. We love this. We are passionate about really helping people make that transformation that completely sets them up for a healthier, happier, more effective life. So whether it's the Inner Circle program or one of the other programs, or join us on a retreat, we would love to have you and get to know you.
Oh, amazing. I'm excited about all the work that you're doing and the vision, the mission, the transformations that you have. As a former pastor and a reluctant evangelist that has seen over 40,000 conversations and 10,000 professions of faith, there may be a kingdom collaboration or partnership that can combine what you're doing, what you want to do to see more people impacted for Christ. So that's something we can plan and pray and think about. So on behalf of just everyone who's watching, thank you guys for, I took overtime 1 hour and 6 minutes. Thank you, Jay, for tuning in. Jay Ma, thank you for, let's see, who else was in here? Gregory Hall, thank you for Narian, Bruno. Thank you guys for all of you who have watched and tuned in. And for the replay, you guys need to listen to this because there's so many golden nuggets from this dynamic duo who have chosen God first and their marriage to be able to pledge, to set boundaries, to be able to remain pure and to impact, we're going to say millions of lives, if not beyond. So thank you guys so much. And here we are to help you to sell more, to give more. So thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you so much, Micah and Diana, once again.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
you.